That little gesture meant nothing to the world, but for the army, it was a big clue. Jungkook repeating Jimin's words? Jimin hurt you? And Taehyung too close? What the hell is this? As the public prepares to welcome Jungkook out of the military, an emotional outburst ensues. Will the secret relationship that has been hidden finally be revealed in front of millions of eyes? Or have we just seen an emotional conspiracy that has never been imagined? Do you feel that too? Like something's changed. Like there is something that you do not understand, but your heart knows. Something unusual. Everything seems normal on the screen. A simple gesture from Jungkook. Warm sentences in the interview. But the army, as always, is not just a spectator. We're emotion readers. We guard secrets. And when that one little gesture appeared, Jungkook's finger touching his neck and then staring blankly into the camera, the entire fandom knew it was Jimin's line. Not just words, but feelings. But why is Jimin silent? More than that, why did he hurt you? This question is not an ordinary speculation. This is not a wild theory from a dark corner of fandom. It's a blast. Not from one person, but from thousands. Hundreds of thousands. Army exploded in the know. Something is not spoken. Jungkook will soon be out of the army. A moment that has been long awaited. But why is it that what is felt is not warmth, but emptiness? And as everyone waited for Jimin, the figure once called the soft shadow behind Jungkook, to speak, what appears is precisely the cold speech that pierces the heart. Not everything has to be shown. Sometimes silence is protection. That's what Jimin said. The army was silent. Not for agreeing, but because it hurts. Because who is he protecting? Jungkook? Himself? Or someone closer than we know? And yes, the question finally came to the fore. Is this all about Taehyung? Because lately, too often cameras capture something that is not even worth arguing about. Proximity. Jungkook and Taehyung. Gaze. Touch of the shoulder. Laugh too loose. Even in events that are not supposed to reflect intimacy, they look like two inseparable sides of a coin. But where's Jimin? In the past, when the world talked about soulmates, the names Jimin and Jungkook were almost never separated. Whether it's a rehearsal, a concert, or an interview, there's something between them that doesn't need words. Army calls it emotional bonding. But now, what remains is a silent gesture too sharp to ignore. Even when the camera accidentally catches Jungkook staring at someone outside the frame, and he raises his hand and touches his lips as if sending a message, Army knows it's not for Taehyung that it was a gesture Jimin used to do when Jungkook was nervous on stage. Then is all this a coincidence? Is the gesture just an old form of habit? Or this signal? Army's emotional outbursts could no longer be contained as day by day. The signals became clearer. But clarity isn't the answer. It's the more painful question. Have we just witnessed a breakup that wasn't said in person? Are Jimin and Jungkook once two lights in one galaxy, now distant stars? And who took that place on Jungkook's side? Taehyung's name came about not because of jealousy, but because of reality. Because there are too many moments that show their familiarity in the midst of Jimin's silence. And that silence, too jarring. You remember when Jungkook said on a live show, "I don't want to talk because I know it will make you cry"? At the time, many thought he was talking to fans. But now, are you sure he's not talking to someone who's silent? Could it be that Jimin is the one who refuses to cry in public, but is secretly deeply hurt? It's like a broken glass in the middle of the road. It doesn't hurt you right away, but the longer you step, you feel it scratch slowly. That's how the army feels now. They were not only disappointed that they did not get a warm welcome from Jimin for Jungkook. They feel betrayed by silence. But was Jimin silent out of anger? Or because he's too broken to talk? Then who destroyed it? Some fans mentioned that Jungkook's gestures lately look too relaxed, even happy. And that's not wrong, unless you know that someone by your side is feeling abandoned. Especially when the gesture is similar to Jimin's speaking style in last year's interview, who said, "If someone starts repeating your lines, it means that he misses you or is trying to remember you so as not to forget." Then, if that's true, why should you remember something that's still with you? What does all this mean? ARMY felt that a relationship that had been hidden, a relationship that was never said but always felt, was now slowly coming to the surface. Not as a confession, but as a split, and precisely because it was never officially announced, the breakup felt much more painful.
No closure. No clarification.
Just gestures. Just a quote. Just a look. Is this proof that Jungkook and Jimin's relationship has been more than the public knows? And was Taehyung's proximity a major factor in the destruction? Jungkook looks too comfortable now. Too free. But sometimes, being too free is a sign that someone is finally letting go of something that was once too strong to let go. And Jimin, who said nothing, was probably fighting in silence. And you know what hurts the most? The ARMY is caught in the middle of it all. Witness a story never told, but always felt. We cry for gestures that the public does not understand. We miss the presence that no longer greets each other. We love them not because of the drama, but because of the truth they bring into our lives. But is love only one way? ARMY exploded not out of hate, but because of love. A love that has been held for a long time, poured out through banners, concerts, fan art, theories, and hopes. But that love is now like being thrown into an unexplained abyss. And when Jimin said that not everything should be shown, the question is, do we not deserve to know? And are we wrong to ask that the love we have been giving all this time, not enough for one sentence of explanation, in a world that is constantly changing fast, the only thing we expect remains, it's them. But when Jungkook leaves the military and looks back, is Jimin still where he used to be? Or has it been replaced? ARMY, you may not get an answer today, but you know you're not alone. Because of this taste, too big for one person. We all feel it. And when that truth finally emerges, whether in the form of lyrics, looks, or silence, we'll know we've seen it from the beginning. And if that gesture is a confession, then that love never really goes away. But will that love come back or be gone forever? As Jungkook finished his last sentence in a seemingly spontaneous live broadcast, one small moment silenced the world. His blank gaze stared at the screen. His lips trembled slightly, as if he wanted to say something, but it never really came out. And it was at that moment, an ARMY wrote one comment that is now viral all over social media. He just repeated Jimin's pattern, but with deeper wounds. Comments are like keys, opening thousands of flavor archives that we have ignored. We begin to review the video clip. We begin to reread the lyrics. We begin to rearrange the chronology. And one name kept coming up, Jimin. But unlike usual, the name is now not present as a companion, protector, or closest friend, but as a shadow that is increasingly distant and forgotten. But why? Is it true that Taehyung replaced that position? Let's step back a little. You still remember Taehyung and Jungkook's live that suddenly went viral just because of one little joke? As they throw smiles at each other and Jungkook laughs that way. Unusual? At that time, many ARMY considered it funny, fun, even touching. But after all this has happened, during Jimin's silence, when Jungkook's gestures touch old wounds, we begin to ask, is that laughter the beginning of the end? Is Taehyung and Jungkook's closeness the main reason why Jimin moved away? We know Jimin is not a person who easily reveals wounds, but he knows how to hide it. And isn't that the most painful? When your loved one chooses not to get angry, not to argue, not to scream, but just be silent. Because behind a silence, there is a world that is collapsing, and that world, it's Jungkook. Even when Jimin appeared in his last interview, his gaze was unfocused. The sentences are short. And one of the most haunting moments was when she was asked if there was someone she wanted to personally greet. He simply replied, "They know who they are. But sometimes, despite knowing, they still choose not to come." ARMY sighed, because they know. This sentence is not meant for fans. It was aimed at one person. The one he used to watch silently. The one person he used to hug when the world attacked. But now, that one person no longer comes. Is this the end of everything, or the beginning of something more painful? Many try to separate feelings from facts. But with BTS, that's impossible. Because they were never just artists. They are the world itself to the ARMY. And when the world shakes, we can't just stand by and watch. Because when Jungkook smiles but Jimin cries in silence, and Taehyung stands too close, then nothing is clearly visible anymore. We begin to see cracks that were not visible before. We begin to remember when Jimin said, "Sometimes, someone comes to save you, but not forever he stayed." That's the line he said in their documentary. At the time, people thought he was talking about the past. Has the past become the present? And is the one who used to save, is that the reason he got hurt? The ARMY is not just looking for thrills. We're looking for honesty. And in this story, honesty seems to be locked in 3 names: Jungkook, Jimin, and Taehyung. And one by one, these layers. That's what the ARMY has been arguing about for the past 2 weeks. Is it just because Jimin didn't say hello to Jungkook that the world has to assume it's over? But when you really pay attention, it's not just a matter of no greeting. It's about an old wound that never really healed. It's about a relationship that was once the center of the universe. Now it's like being an uninvited ghost. Someone wrote on Twitter, or rather, shouted in capital letters, "Jimin is taking care of himself, and we should all be asking, why should he protect himself from the person he always protected first?" The sentence is like a whip, and somehow that sentence keeps spinning in everyone's head, especially when one particular video pops up from an old fan site. Little known video. It only lasted 18 seconds. But the contents freeze time. Jungkook, backstage, looks around for someone. As she stared at the camera, she asked quietly, "Where is Hyung? Are you home?" And the staff only nodded briefly. Jungkook sighed, lowered his head, then sat down. 1 second, 2 seconds, and he whispers one sentence. "I came too late, didn't I?" The ARMY is crying because they know who Hyung is. They know what he's looking for is not Taehyung, not Jin, not Hoseok, but Jimin. And we're starting to realize something. Maybe it's not just Jimin who's staying away. Perhaps even Jungkook realized too late that the loss had already happened. But why now? Why is it that when Jungkook is about to finish his military service, when it should be a time of togetherness, it is precisely divisions like this that come to the fore? ARMY has a painful answer, because when the heart is not spoken of, it rots in silence. And in that silence, sincerity becomes suspicious, kindness becomes cynical, and closeness becomes a threat. Just look at Jungkook and Taehyung's relationship, which is now in the spotlight. They seem more friendly, too friendly, even for the size of a friend. Some fans liked their interaction, but not a few begin to feel something is missing. Not just Jimin, but the aura that once only appeared when Jungkook and Jimin were together. An aura that makes us feel warm, convenient. Calm down. Now, that's all changed cold. Some say, we should be happy because they are happy. But the ARMY is not an outsider. We know happiness is forced. We know when someone smiles out of love and when they smile because they want to hide the tears. And Taehyung smiles too much lately. Is he covering something up? Or does he know more than he shows? We don't forget when Taehyung said in one of his live shows, "Sometimes when 2 people get too close, one has to go first so they can grow." Is that a clue? Is that an explanation? Or just justification? And if it's true that it was intended for Jungkook and Jimin, then we have to ask, who went first? What is Jimin? Or is it Jungkook? Because in relationships, leaving doesn't always mean leaving physically. Sometimes, you can stay there, but your heart is no longer with that person. And now, as Jimin chooses to remain silent in all of Jungkook's pivotal moments, not because he forgets, but because he doesn't want to hurt any further, ARMY begins to ask for the first time, is their love only for the past? Are all their moments laughing together, crying together, hugging on stage, and looking into each other's eyes really just memories? Or is there anything left? But what's the point of remaining if it's never revealed? In the midst of all this chaos, one of South Korea's largest fan base wrote a shocking post. In a very subtle, yet sharp language, "We respect the silence of the members, But we can't close our eyes when love turns into a fog, and that fog swallows